Well, I'll make it pretty simple and brief. Happy birthday to Norman Eugene Stewart. We love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for all you've done for our program in the state of Missouri. In addition to that, having Kobe Brown recognition or recognized as a candidate for any National Player of the Year award is outstanding. It says a lot about him. It says a lot about his parents. It says a lot about his path and growth. As I've said all along, any individual award belongs to our team. Although it bears the name of Kobe, it bears the name of our fans, it bears the name of our institution, and each and every teammate and coaching staff that's been by his side, including our managers.
Dennis, you said a few times you think Alabama's the best team in the country. I mean, what specifically, when you watch them, stands out?
Well, the number one team in the country has different characteristics. Those characteristics have, from my standpoint, they've been weathered. These guys have experience. They have natural talent. They can make shots. They don't depend on just one source of offense. They can get to the foul line. They can defend. They can play different styles, different paces, and ultimately, you look at what they have done. There's a tremendous amount of respect that we have for our program to theirs, just in terms of their style of play.
Coach, what makes Brandon Miller so special?
Well, you know, I still think he's, you know, not where he's going to be. There's a unique base and foundation that he has, and it's an unbelievable sight. I think he has a ability to score off the dribble. He can shoot over defenses, but also you look at his patience when he gets to the rack, being able to play off 2 feet, but also defensively, I think he can bother shots, and he has confidence, and ultimately his teammates give that to him too. I credit Nate Oates and his staff.
Coach, I think you guys are 11-1 at home this season. Just talk a little bit about this home atmosphere, what it's been like, and how you guys are kind of playing it to your advantage.
Well, I love our crowd. I love the atmosphere in Mizzou Arena. It's outstanding energy, and when I say energy, sometimes I can't, you know, hear myself. I can't hear my players. They can't hear me. But I ultimately can only imagine how our opponents feel. What I expect and what I appreciate the most is our fans are engaged. They are engaged every single play. They are basketball educated. They are into it. You know, the ups and downs. And I truly credit that education in terms of creating our atmosphere, because the biggest call or the smallest is impactful, and they know what to say, how to say it. But they have always respected the opponent, and they do a great job of respecting everything that goes along and not jumping over that line, right? They're not throwing things. They're not calling people out of their name. They're loud, obnoxious, and I appreciate it, and I want them to be a little bit louder, but I always want them to be respectful, and ultimately that's what they've done.
Coach, looking back at the Arkansas game and going in this next game, what do you want to see, you know, your team carry over from that game into tomorrow?
Man, I need more timeouts. If I had some more timeouts, you know, I would be happy. But that was a great game, and what it did, calling that timeout with 7:03, it allowed me to understand everything that we're doing in preparation, because you can't catch every raindrop. Everything that we do in preparation, our guys are retaining, and they're able to regurgitate it in real life. I thought their awareness of not having timeouts, they didn't make a mistake and called one. That is huge, right? They didn't panic when we had dead ball opportunities. They ran over to me. But what it ultimately says is that we have a level of connection, that our guys are engaged. They're engaged in the game plan. Sometimes when you talk to young people, they may not give you the body language and response like they're listening or like they're absorbing everything, but they listen, and they are absorbing the smallest thing. And I think that stands out to me, stands out to our staff and our players as well.
Coach, when you compare the first Arkansas game to the second, what do you feel like was the difference between the two where you were able to pull out the second one?
I think the similarities first, okay? The crowd helped both teams win. If you think about it, the crowd helped both teams win. Arkansas depended on their crowd, and we depended on ours. We didn't play a perfect game, and Arkansas didn't play a perfect game in Fayetteville. But our fans were able, on both sides, to help us get that win and close out the game. Referees have a tough job. They have to, get it right all the time. And throughout a game, not just the last minute or last 5 minutes or a crucial call, the game is happening so fast. I commend them for the job that they do, because ultimately our conference is probably one of the fastest, most physical conferences and most athletic conferences out of any, right? We refer to it as the NBA South. Coach Young, our associate head coach, always refers to SEC as the NBA South because the athleticism, the skill set, the length is similar to the NBA. And our referees have a tough job to do. But ultimately, we know the respect that both teams have and always will have. I'm thankful we can play that hard and not have fights. I'm thankful we can compete at the level we compete at as a conference and still respect mano a mano. You look at Black, right? He made some great plays defensively. He helped our guys up, and vice versa. You look at after the game, the way two teams balance after each game at Arkansas and at our place. We knew the significance. We know how important it is. It was all love from the coaching staff to the players. And you look at the body language. Guys gave each other the nod, whether we were in defeat or whether we won.
Dennis, what has Coach Fly brought to the staff this year?
Man, Coach Fly. This is a coach that won 20 games at Florida Gulf Coast. Let's remember that first and foremost. This is an unfair business to some, and it's a business of transition. There's no way he should be nothing less than a head coach. And he will get another opportunity, but he gives us a head coach on our staff. He gives us someone with a different view, right? A different viewpoint, but also someone that knows the game, that has called their own timeouts. He's director of scouting. He does a great job for our program, and will always do that. And there's a level of trust because we come from Leonard Hamilton's coaching tree that we'll always have for each other in a friendship. But we're lucky to have him. I'm thankful he's here. He and his wife decided to join us. He had other opportunities to be a full-time assistant at other places, but he chose Mizzou, and that lets you know how special of a place it is. It's not just with recruits. It's not just with the team, but when your staff decides to join you because of what's so special about an institution, it stands out and people watch. And it's very, very loud in appearance. The smallest thing that's said on Twitter, Instagram, and social media to the smallest, right? It's all appeared in one thing, and it represents our who we are as a university, as a city, and that's what attracted him here. But he's doing a great job.
Dennis, after such a long layoff between games, what did you think translated about Isaiah immediately coming back? And were there any areas that you thought there might be a little rust in that first?
You said we had a layover with games?
No, but Isaiah.
I was like, where you been at?
No.
I'll say this. What it says is this. Our job as leaders is to humanize these student athletes. Humanize them. Treat them as regular people, not just athletes. We all have continued and will always continue to put our arms around each and every player. My job is to never forget that. Why? Because Leonard Hamilton never forgets that. Our players have put their arms around Isaiah in his moments to help him, right? To help him when we knew he would say, Coach, I'm ready. And at this point, he said, Coach, I'm ready. And ultimately, when that happens, that's the level of respect. You got to allow people space, right? And understand through it all, we're here for them. We're here for them. So I want to first applaud you guys and appreciate you guys, because sometimes to do your job effectively, you have to cross the line. You have to try to find the story. I asked you guys to give him space. I asked you guys his privacy, and you guys have respected that. So I thank you guys for doing that, because as my job, no different than any recruit, I tell them, hey, my job is to love you and protect you. And you guys allowed me to protect Isaiah, and obviously the things that he had to go through. And, you know, ultimately at some point, you got to give him his space to talk about those things. And I appreciate you guys doing that for him, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all for any of these young men that have the light shined on them the way that they do. So I appreciate that. What I look at ultimately is a young man that has a dream, and his dream is locked into his team's success. The level of connection, the level of coaching, he's the first one jumping up and down when guys are successful. When we win, he's the first guy giving high fives. When we are not doing well, he's the first guy being able to correct, hey, we need to do that. It's the same thing. When you have a loving environment, you see guys give, you see guys receive. You see guys give, you see guys receive. And it's all going to err on the side of our 8 core values: friendship, love, accountability, trust, discipline, unselfishness, enthusiasm, and toughness. And I expect our guys to continue to carry that, not just in basketball, but in the real world when they become fathers, husbands, and obviously unbelievable citizens or CEOs, and use it 20 years down the line. So we're excited to have our team closer to 100%. Noah Carter has been practicing. Those guys are available. So I think that's important to understand as well. So I'm thankful.
For one last question?
No, Dennis, with everyone available, with Noah back, is the ceiling for this team higher? Because you haven't really had all the pieces there, like with Mo playing a little bit more, with Isaiah back.
I'll say this. We haven't, and you guys probably criticize me all the time, like, what is he talking about? We hadn't played well yet. I am dead serious. I am honest when I say this. I'm not just pulling anyone's leg. We have not. I have not seen my team play well yet. And I'm excited about that day when it comes. But some teams, it takes a process to get to a side that they hadn't seen, but the expectation of a head coach and a CEO. I'm not in a day-to-day mindset. I'm in a big picture, right? And the big picture is, what do we need to go through to get to that point? Our kids have been lost in a process, and I want them to be in a process. I don't want them to be complacent. I don't want them to take my words the wrong way and be in discouragement like, Coach, man, you can't be satisfied. No, they understand what I'm saying. And they too will be the first ones to recognize us putting 40 minutes together at the same time, consistently, with 0 gaps. We hadn't done that yet. And I'm excited about the possibility of that happening in 2023.